Very interesting, a real cowboy.
And when they went forward, we the people went forward against the federal bureaucrats' army. And when we did that, and when I say we, I want to tell you, it's not me, it was them that went forward. And they went forward not knowing the militia was going to back them up. This was something that I didn't even realize for a couple of weeks after I didn't start having time to see the videos. Those people went forward, and they had very few arms. They wasn't armed. There was only maybe a half a dozen out of several hundred that had a sidearm or something on them. They went forward to defend our liberty and freedom. And they wasn't going to let the feds have their way. And they marched forward with the guns pointing at them. And let me express this a little bit. Was anybody there that's here? Was anybody there? It's sort of interesting. I go around and talk, and you know, usually there's one or two that was there. So anyway, and I always feel like they need to be the witness. I shouldn't be telling this story. They should tell it. It's their story. But let me tell you, they were going towards these guns. And the feds were saying, halt, we have a court order, we'll fire. If you move forward, we'll fire. This was the language over their bullhorn. This is what they're telling the people. And the people kept moving forward. And the people told me they did not have fear. Now, you know, you and I, it's sort of hard to understand. How can these people go without fear? It wasn't that they wasn't thinking about it, but they was going without. I'll tell you about one little guy. This little guy was a Russian, and I'd known him for a few years. He worked for my neighbor a few years ago, and anyway, he came to stand with Bundy. And when they was under that bridge marching forward towards these guns, he took American flag and headed out, and marched right in front of everybody. And my sons and other people, they kept hollering, come back. And finally, they run and stopped him. And he said, remember, he's a little Russian guy. He said, I lived under this kind of a government, and I'll be damned if I'm going to be in America and live under this kind of government. And he was going to be the first man killed. You know, what can you say? You just gain a lot of respect for that man. You start understanding where he come from, and you start understanding a little bit, well, we better be paying attention here. We better be fighting. We better be willing to stand and take that flag forward. I know you're here to learn about grand juries. And let me tell you, I don't know much about grand juries. I do know about we the people standing. And I have seen, let me just tell you another little example of we the people standing. My son Ammon lives in Phoenix, Arizona. And you might have read this on the internet you know, as he joined or tried to get airplane tickets, just like we did this morning. Well, he did that several times. And you know what he did? He challenges that. Every time they give him trouble, he puts that on the internet. And you know how many hits he'll get when he talks about the federal government retaining him and causing him trouble like they did Buddha and I this morning? You know, he'll get up to 500,000 hits on the social media. In less than 12 hours, 24 hours, he'll get 500,000. You know, we the people are paying attention to these problems. And you don't think 500,000 people makes a difference? That's how we the people, that's one of the ways, that's what brought the people to Bundy Ranch is social media. But it was we the people that come. It wasn't Bundy fighting the federal government. Now it was we the people fighting the federal government. And guess what? The militia backed them up. Now let me tell you the story there. We the people and the horses and the men on foot and the women on feet, but going towards this army. I looked a little bit later in the videos, and here's militia in perfect position up on that top of that freeway with a cement barrier rail along there, pointing their gun through the cracks. Now those people, if the feds would have fired on we the people, that militia would have saved a lot of lives. And it might be the reason that the army or the federal army backed off, because they could see that militia was there. Now let me talk to you a little bit about militia. Before this standoff, I never understood militia very much. It's a little bit like I don't quite understand grand jury. But let me tell you, it was very clear that we, the people, had the right to do what we're doing. But it was very clear that the strength comes from our Second Amendment rights. The militia was there to back up we, the people. That's something that needed to be done, and that's something that happened at Bundy Ranch. I don't know whether it ever happened before for hundreds of years, but it did happen at Bundy Ranch. And let me talk to you a little bit about what's going on at Bundy Ranch now. In 8 months, I have never seen a government licensed vehicle on my ranch, or even in that part of the county. I mean, talk about relief. Remember, it was just a few months ago I had guns pointed at me. But now I haven't had one, I haven't had a BLM, or Forest Service, Park Service, Fish and Wildlife, Federal, nobody. And I haven't got no letter from the court. And I haven't got no letter from the sheriff. They have left me alone. Now, of course, you know, there are always kind of rumors that they're going to come and get me, they're going to do this and that. But you know what I tell them? When you got guts enough to do it, just come on. Because, you know, I had thousands of people there helping me, and now I know that I'll have 10,000s of people helping me next time. I want to take just one more minute here. When we the people was standing underneath them flags, and my county sheriff was there. We met with the county sheriff. I wouldn't talk to the county sheriff until he met in front of we the people. And there was a mandate made to the sheriff. The mandate was take those arms away from those feds. Take those arms away from those federal agents. And you know, a couple of days went by, and he didn't take them away. If he would have took them away, we wouldn't have to face them. Those guns wouldn't have been poking down our throat. But the sheriff didn't do what we the people asked him. And a few days later, I think 2 days later, I had this thought. The thought was sort of scary. My thought was, the good Lord has given America one more chance. There's 3,100 county sheriffs in America. If they would all take care of their county and take those arms away in each county, those arms would be taken away from the bureaucracy. I'm not talking about taking people's Second Amendment rights away. I'm talking about taking those government agency guns that they've, issued. Government issued arms away from those bureaucrats. When does a bureaucrat need a gun? Why do they have all of these, you know, you hear all about all of these ammo they're buying. That ammo's not to shoot foreign enemy. They're to shoot we the people. And why do they need that arms? And why do they need that guns? You know, who's supposed to protect our life, liberty, and property? Who is supposed to protect our life, liberty, and property? Who do we hire? Who do we elect, and who do we hire? Our county sheriff's job. He's the only man we hire and the only man we pay to protect our life, liberty, and property. Of course, he has a force, but we hire him. We elect him. And the feds don't have no jurisdiction and authority here. So what I'm telling you, America, we better wake up and we better take those guns away from those bureaucrats, or we're going to have to face them in a civil war. Thank you, and if we get time, I'd like to ask it or answer any kind of question or anything.
Do we have a question? Anybody got a question? Now's the time. This gentleman right here.
You said several months ago that an article appeared in the Federal Register declaring all the land, about 2 million acres around your property, as a national wilderness. If that wasn't acted by Congress by February 10th, it would stand by default. What's your position on that? What have you done about it?
Well, I understand it was a ACEC, which means a area of critical environmental concern. And they brought that ACEC over about 3 counties, southern Nevada, which my ranch would have been in part of it. But let me tell you, they're putting another layer. Let me talk to you just a little bit. Before then, they had ACECs in areas. And they had what they was doing here is they was saying, we'll give you access to the land. We'll give you like a byway. And you stay on the sidewalk and don't get off on the grass. And if you get off on the grass, we'll give you a $400 or $500 ticket. Well, the ACEC basically said we're going to take the sidewalk away. So now you go anywhere, you're going to be on our land with this critical environmental concern, and now you're going to get a ticket for stopping along the road or picnicking or hunting or doing anything. So in other words, it was another layer. But let me tell you what Bundy thinks. I've been dealing with these things all my life. As far as I'm concerned, it don't have no meaning to me.
Well, that was no doubt the renowned cowboy Cliven Bundy, who's got a 1-year anniversary event coming up April 12th, 13th, 14th, around that time, 1 year after he and the militia stood down the federal SWAT team of the BLM, made them go away.
We better wake up, and we better take those guns away from those bureaucrats, or we're going to have to face them in a civil war. We better wake up, and we better take those guns away from those bureaucrats, or we're going to have to face them in a civil war.